Today, if I stumble a little over my words or get stuck for a word, it's because I haven't prepared my script for today's video. This is the first time I've ever done this, but I didn't want to prepare anything. I wanted to speak from my heart and not actually give myself the time to put in any extra words that were not really what I wanted to say. Yes, please. That was my hubby offering me a cup of tea. Always good. It's quite cold here at the moment. I hope everybody's well, and if there's anyone new on this channel today, a big welcome to you. And thank you so much to my loyal subscribers who do keep watching. I've just been watching a video by a lady called Susan, and her channel's called Little Poet. When I've watched one of her videos, I feel like I've been in a gentle place. Anyway, this is what sparked this video of mine. She was talking about something different actually, but mentioned that she had gone into a shop and was shocked at the price of a check book cover for $30 and couldn't believe that someone would spend that amount of money. And it also got her thinking about the people in the world who are starving and who live on $1 or $2 a day. And that's actually what I want to talk about. Don't switch off, because I'm not asking for money for any charitable institution. I'm not going to put a guilt trip on you. I just want us to talk about the things that really do go on. The things that happen in the world that some of us never ever get to see. Now, I worked at a school most of my working career, and it was 95% underprivileged children. We did offer a bursary system that we helped with the school fees, but there were still things missing all the time. You know, to have your school fees paid is wonderful, but it's the child who has to come to school in the morning with shoes that are too tight and they're hurting him, without a jersey or a cardigan on, just with these little white shirts, because he doesn't have a school cardigan, and it's school rules to wear a school cardigan and not just any other one that somebody gave you. And perhaps his mum never had anything to make school lunch for him. Some people who live in South Africa will immediately say, now, but she's forgetting about the school feeding scheme. No, not forgetting about it. I've worked in the education industry long enough to know exactly how the school feeding scheme does not work. It's the same as everything else. The supplier list only consists of people who are in the know, with the people who run the feeding scheme. The food doesn't turn up on time. What you do with a little soul standing in front of you at 9 o'clock in the morning, he or she hasn't had anything to eat since 9 o'clock the previous morning, and the supplier never delivered the bread. And you can't even give that child a peanut butter sandwich. Now, I just couldn't stand that. And I decided to go above the school feeding scheme. And I started a little foundation, and we called it the Care Bears. Well, that started with, well, let me backtrack a bit and just tell you something that had happened. One of our classes of the very small children, we also have a division in the school for partially hearing children. And it was in one of those classes that the teacher gave out pictures one day, just a black and white drawing on a piece of paper, and they all had equal colors of their crayons to color the picture with, and she sat them down to color the picture in. First of all, she said there was hardly any interest shown in what they were given to do, and they did it as quickly as possible, and they just picked up the first pencil crayon or colouring crayon that they put their hands on, and they coloured it just everywhere, just to satisfy the teacher that they'd done what they were told to do. We then got a donation of porridge from a company, and I believe, I don't have the facts on this, but I believe that porridge had an award from the World Health Organization for having really good nutrients in it and what a person needs to feed them for the day. And we gave these same children a bowl of that porridge every morning. It was quite easy to give to them because we didn't need milk. Thank you. Okay. Tea's arrived. We didn't need milk. We just needed hot water. So it had a little bit of something sweet in it as well. And I tasted it before I gave it to the children, and it was lovely. Different flavors, vanilla and chocolate and caramel and that. So it was really quite palatable. And of course they just gobbled this up. We gave it to them every morning for 1 week. And the teacher did the same test with them a week later and gave them the same amount of colouring pencils and the same drawing. I just wish I could show you the difference. You know, I'm so cross with myself that I've allowed it to get lost. I had those drawings. Somewhere along the line over the years I've misplaced them. I wish I could show you. They used all the colours that they were given. They actually took an interest in what they were colouring. They coloured in the lines much more than they had the previous week. And they were actually proud of their colouring. When they handed it in, there was a sense of pride, she reported back. That was 1 bowl of porridge a day to 6-year-olds. Anyway, so we started the porridge program. Then we very soon saw that there were a lot of children without any school lunch either. So they hadn't had breakfast at home and they had not brought any lunch to school with them. And then we decided to give them peanut butter sandwiches. I don't know if anyone knows, but if you go into it, peanut butter is very nutritious if you can't afford anything else. So we had peanut butter on fresh bread every day, and they could have as much as they liked of that. And they had that at lunchtime. Most of them didn't have anything to eat until the next morning when they came in and they were very hungry and waiting for their porridge. This is one school in one suburb, in one town, in one country. In this case, South Africa. This sort of thing, children are starving to death all over the world. And somehow it's okay for us to go out and buy a $300 bottle of champagne to go with our meal and not think about the child that's gone to bed another night with an empty stomach. One day at school, I had a really, really upsetting experience. And when I watch the news on TV and I see the children in Gaza and all over the world starving, I saw for myself that day firsthand what actually happens. This child had mentioned that he had a sore tummy. He was about 12. And his teacher asked him if he'd had something unusual to eat, or he said no, he hadn't eaten anything. And she said, well, what did you have for breakfast? And he said nothing. And she said, and supper last night? And he said nothing. And she said, well, when last did you eat? It turned out that he hadn't eaten for 4 days. He had nothing to eat for 4 days. We immediately mixed him up a bowl of porridge just to get a little something into him. But you know what happened? I'm sorry to make you visualize the ugliness of this, but this is the truth of it. As the first teaspoon of it hit his stomach, it came straight back out again. He was so starved he couldn't even keep the food in his stomach. I'm not talking about children living in war-torn areas. I'm talking about children who are just day to day getting up in the morning, going off to school without any food. Luckily, people were generous, and I appealed to a lot of people from out of South Africa, because with the South African currency being weak, by them giving even $50, it was so much more in South African rands. And we got money from all over the place. We then registered as a non-profit organization, which allowed us to give people receipts, which gave them an exemption on their tax. So we built it up from there. And then we were able to give those children with the tight school shoes on a new pair of shoes. And the child who really, really wanted to go on the school outing with the rest of the class, but hadn't had the 50 cents to pay, and we could put it in for him and let him go as well, and make sure that he had something nice to take with him for his little refreshment while he was out. Little things. There were some children who needed scholastic testing. They were definitely needing more education, not more education, a different education to what we were giving them. And we use some of that money for that testing as well. I'm going on and on about this. I don't know. I don't have the solution. But I do know that maybe by just talking about it and saying something to you, and this is an uncomfortable conversation we're having. I know it is. There might be just one person you could help. There might be one family that you could just help a little bit. Just to make their lives just a little bit easier. But as you can hear, my heart lies with the children. And I know that there are many elderly people who are also in really dire straits. But I'm asking you about the children. There are millions of us in the world who have got money. Personally, I don't have a lot of money. But my husband's just brought me a cup of tea. Lovely warm cup of tea. It's a lot more. And a lot of people have got it at the moment. There are millions of us, billions of us, with that much money. Just about the amount of money that even I've got. That we can do just some little thing with. Just something. I don't know what. I don't have the answer. If I did, I would be putting an end to world hunger, wouldn't I? And I'm not. So, it's very unlikely that you've watched to the end of this video. But if you have, I sincerely thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. It's very, very close to my heart, and I really, really do hope that the next time you get that $200 takeaway, that you'll find some way of just spreading that wealth, just $1 or $2, somewhere else as well. I'm speaking in dollars because it's a currency we all know. We, of course, speak in South African rands, in England in pounds sterling. But please, please, feed a child. Let's put our head on the pillow tonight with a full tummy, knowing that maybe we've helped a child have something to eat as well. Thank you. Bye for now.